Hey, what's up, everybody? I am your high performance mindset coach, Jay Hollingshed, coming to you live and direct for another episode of my 7 pillars of mental performance in 365 days. Thank you so much for tuning in. I truly appreciate that. And this is episode 200. Let me check and make sure because I get it mixed up. 223 of 365. And today is Saturday. Saturday's topic is always pillar number 7. Saturday is the 7th day of the week. Pillar number 7 is positive and negative self-talk. Positive and negative self-talk. Now, as you can see, my background is kind of different. I'm actually in St. Louis, Missouri at my niece's house. And on my way, I'm driving to Oklahoma, but I'm stopping in St. Louis, Missouri. Kind of break the drive up a little bit. But I gotta stop and actually do my broadcast at 9 o'clock. So thank you for tuning in. This is my 7 pillars of mental performance. Those that are watching already, my brother AJ, I appreciate you, man. Always there on time, right on time, front row seat, season ticket holder. Thank you so much, big bro. I appreciate and love you, man. Also, you can watch this episode in its entirety on my YouTube channel as well. Elizabeth Fletcher, thank you for tuning in as well. I appreciate you. You can like, share, subscribe, and tag all of that from my YouTube channel. So if you would, please go ahead and subscribe to that. Now, let's go right ahead and jump into it. Positive and negative self-talk. Today, we're going to talk about, very briefly, discuss how talking to yourself is a good thing. Your self-talk and how talking to yourself is a good thing. Now, this article comes from healthline.com and it's from Kimberly Holland. Kimberly Holland wrote the article and it's in healthline.com. Now, Kimberly said that your self-talk is an internal dialogue. Of course, we talk about that all the time in all of my broadcasts on Saturdays. Yes, self-talk is an internal dialogue, and it is also influenced by your subconscious mind, and it reveals your thoughts. Your self-talk reveals your beliefs. Your self-talk reveals your ideas, and it questions you. Of course, it's going to question you. And I think my light is actually doing something crazy right now. Hold on one second. Let's try to make some adjustments. I was looking like a glowworm for a minute. Hey, there we go. That's a lot better. Okay, now your self-talk also, it questions your beliefs. It questions you, your thoughts and your ideas. Now, why is your self-talk good for you? According to the article, the author says that your self-talk can enhance your performance and in general and your general well-being. So, for example, it shows that your self-talk can help athletes in their performance. That's something I talk about all the time. Self-talk helps your athletes and the entrepreneurs, my 2 target audiences, athletes and entrepreneurs. And it helps them with their endurance and their power, and your endurance, your power, your ability to withstand and sustain your tests that are thrown at you while you are actually on your journey or your process of becoming the person you want to be or reaching the goals that you want to reach. Now, how does your self-talk work for you? How does your self-talk work? Well, it's an influencer. It's actually the most influential voice we will ever hear, more so than our parents, more so than our spouses and our closest relatives. Why? Because it is what we are always listening to. It talks to us more so than our spouse, our parents, our relatives. It is always talking to us when we are conscious. When we are asleep, we are unconscious, and so is our self-talk. It's irrelevant. Okay, so when we're awake and we become conscious, then our self-talk, it starts talking. It starts talking to us left and right. So it's always talking to us in our head. That's that voice in our head, our psyche. Now, how does your self-talk work? Well, before we can learn to practice more positive self-talk, you must identify the negative thinking. That's what you want to do. You want to identify the negative self-talk so you can reverse it and make it positive. Now, before you can do that, you have to identify your self-talk. And when you begin to recognize the negative thinking, you can turn it into positive thinking. Now, it requires practice. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. Like everything else, it is a process. So It's a process you have to go through, and it takes repetition. It takes practice. It's something that has to be worked, and you have to grow it like a muscle, okay? You recognize what's going on, and then you practice it as well. You adjust my lighting one more time. There we go. Like I said, I started to look like a glowworm for a second. Now your self-talk, you have to practice your self-talk. Once you practice recognizing your self-talk, you can change it into positive. So here are some examples. I'm going to give you a few examples. Now, the negative aspect, it says, I'll disappoint everyone if I change my mind. Okay, you got your mind made up and you know what you want to do, and now all of a sudden, everybody wants you to do something different. Well, your self-talk will tell you that you will disappoint everybody else if you change your mind. Now, the positive aspect of that, once you hear that, you recognize it as your negative self-talk. You can flip it, but you got to recognize it first. And once you flip it, the positive example you can use is, I have the power to change my mind. Others will understand. So you go from, I will disappoint everyone if I change my mind, to I have the power to change my mind and others will understand. Now, another example, I failed and embarrassed myself. I have failed and embarrassed myself. That's the negative. Now the positive, I'm proud of even trying. That took courage. You say, I am proud of even trying. That took courage. That's the positive. Another negative, I'm overweight and I'm out of shape. I might as well not bother. The positive, I am capable and strong and I want to get healthier for me. That's the positive. You got to recognize the negative, see what it is, flip it, and make it the positive. A couple of more. I have a couple more for you. And the negative says, I will let everyone on my team down when I don't score. This is for my athletes. The positive for that is, sports is a team event. We will win or lose together. That's the positive aspect. The negative aspect for another one, I've never done this before and I'll be bad at it. The positive is, this is a wonderful opportunity for me to learn and grow from others. Okay? So those are some classic examples that you can use for when you recognize your self-talk as negative, you can change it to positive. But it takes time. It takes practice. Be patient with yourself. Don't just get frustrated and say, oh, I can't do it. Why? Because that's negative self-talk. You got to flip that and say, I got this. I can do this. And I know I can do it. And even give yourself a certain time frame. Make it into a goal like we do on Goal Setting Wednesdays. Give yourself a time frame. Make it reasonable and shoot to making your self-talk from negative to positive. But do it one suggestion at a time. That's all I ask. One suggestion at a time, and you will be able to do it. It's like learning how to walk from here to there. You do it one step at a time. That's all I have for today in my 7 Pillars of Mental Performance in 365 Days, episode 223. And this is Saturday, Positive and Negative Self-Talk. Thank you so much for tuning in. It is the end of the day. There's a sunset. I'm looking at it. And at the end of the day, what do? We recap our day. Everything we've done today has been a performance. Our actions are performances. So our performance will result in a negative or not a negative or a positive. I got self-talk on my mind. Our performances will result in an effort or an excuse. So if you've made more excuses than you've made efforts on today, you can change that tomorrow by starting out by making more efforts than excuses. Then you will have a better day. I hope I said that right. Either way, you make more efforts than you make excuses. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am Jay Hollingshed, your high performance mindset coach and public speaker, wishing you to be well, stay blessed, and as always, through love, be a blessing. God bless.